Welcome to Inside the Yankees. I'm Chris Sheeran. We start out on the links where we join former Yankees manager Joe Torre for his annual Safe at Home Golf Classic. We also spent some time with highly touted prospect Spencer Jones. And finally, we shine a spotlight on the newest Yankee acquisition, Ryan McMahon. But first, we head out to Sleepy Hollow Country Club.
Recently, Joe Torre hosted his annual Safe at Home Golf and Tennis Classic at Sleepy Hollow Country Club. The event benefits his Safe at Home Foundation, which aims to end the cycle of domestic violence and abuse through education.
I think it's so important on days like this to come together as a community around an issue like domestic violence, because for so long, this issue has sort of been in the shadows. When we come together and we have conversations about domestic violence, it's so much easier for someone experiencing it to join the conversation than to have to be the brave one to start it, to say this is happening to me.
The event drew the attendance and support of various celebrities in the New York sports world. Former Yankees Willie Randolph, Lee Mazzilli, and Rick Cerrone, NHL stars Mike Richter and Ken Danico, and former New York Knick John Starks all came out to partake.
Thanks so much for being here. If the weather stays like this, it'll be absolutely perfect for a day of golf. And again, giving up your time to be here with us, and all of you who bought foursomes, it's obviously for a good cause. I mean, I'm just very touched by the work that we're able to do because of what you allowed us to do by being here today.
The proceeds from the event specifically benefited their Margaret's Place initiative, which creates dedicated safe rooms in schools where students can go to talk or hang out in a comfortable environment that feels safe. These environments also offer counseling, violence prevention curriculums, and training for the school's staff members.
Well, I know that 20,000 kids come through our program every year, and they benefit from being in Margaret's Place, you know, the safe room that's named after my mom. And I only judge that from myself. The fact that I never shared it with anybody, thinking that our family was the only one going through this, made me realize that there are other kids out there. And the two messages we have when they come into Margaret's Place is, first of all, it's not their fault, and you're not alone, which is something I didn't know either. These two things have allowed the kids that come through our program to talk about it and get a little different perspective on what they've been experiencing.
We do a violence intervention and prevention program in schools to empower students to help us end the cycle of domestic violence and other interpersonal violence. And the data that we've seen coming back, we really see the difference in it, mitigating the violence and minimizing it. It takes a village, it takes a lot of people. It's a subject that a lot of people don't want to talk about, as we know, but we know it's all around us. So we have to keep moving on.
The fact that these guys give up their time, I know it's fun to play golf and all that stuff, but we've had a lot of repeaters here that come out for our foundation, and we're really appreciative. It's a subject that's not, I think people realize that there may not be a solution. But when they understand that kids are involved and kids benefit from what we do, to make people aware and make them aware that there's help out there. And, I'm thrilled that we're able to make that happen.
Countless kids growing up as Yankees fans dream of being Aaron Judge. Hundreds of them had the one-of-a-kind opportunity to learn from number 99 himself.
I want you guys to all embrace it, have fun. Because if it's challenging you, that means you guys are getting better. This is a game that I love, a game that you guys all love, so let's go out here, have some fun today, and learn some good skills, okay? All right, guys, so thank you so much, and let's get this thing rolling.
Boys and girls from 1st to 8th grade, and even Garrett Cole and his family.
Where's my five? Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Joined the Judge family at Fordham University for the All Rise Foundation's Baseball Pro Camp.
Yeah, my mom and I just kind of dreaming it up back in, 16, 17, finally getting it running in 18. We dreamed about days like this, moments like this, we never thought we'd have this type of turnout. You never know what it's going to turn into, but getting a chance to work with pro camps, and they organize it so well, get so many great kids out here. This is something special. It's one of my favorite days of the year, besides opening day and the start of the postseason.
Aaron said from the beginning, I want this to be an intimate camp. It could be 3,000 kids if we wanted to. He says 200-ish, because he wants to be able to take the time to shake hands and make some kind of a personal contact with each child.
Now this is just your direction. Either we're going to third base or we're going to first base, okay?
It's fun, just seeing the excitement on their face, the joy in their face, the smile on their face when you come around, and seeing them kind of all show off a little bit when we come to their group, and I think they're all excited just to hit home runs off of me, really, but it's a blast.
This camp sold out in an hour, and we have more than 400 on the waiting list.
It's just an opportunity to get out here and spend some time with some great kids, teach them a couple lessons, either baseball lessons, life lessons. I think that's what the most important thing is, coming out here, they build up some confidence, they got some great stories they can go back and tell all their friends at school, and I think it's just helping them kind of, take that next step and just being great citizens.
This is the 6th year Judge has held the camp, twice in his native California, once in Queens, now 3 straight in the Bronx.
Just as much as they're learning lessons or having fun, I'm doing the same thing. I'm learning from these kids. I'm out here having fun. It brings a smile to my face, and it's just a special day. It's learn a lot, have some fun. Each year is so different, like you said, from the times at Fresno to Linden to my couple times here in New York. Each year is so different, but it's cool for me seeing a lot of familiar faces. Kids keep coming back to the camp, so I think we're doing something right.
Good job, you guys! Oh my gosh, how are you? Oh, and where's Mama? To do anything, you need to have an education, whether you're an adult or a child. You need to learn how to read. You need to learn how to be a team player. All of those characteristics that good citizens have, we're here to help with that and develop those skills.
Yeah, for me, it really started watching a lot of my favorite athletes. They all had foundations. They were all giving back, in some way or another. It could have been a foundation. It could have been different things they were doing, but they're always trying to give back. They were in a pretty blessed position, so I just kind of figured, hey, if I ever get an opportunity to be in a pretty special position like I am, I want to be able to give back to these kids and hopefully inspire them to do something good for their community, or do something good at home, or do something good in the world.
There's a lot of organizations that do similar things that we do. Aaron's a great example. The kids are a magnet to them. So this means everything to us and to those that are going to follow Aaron's pace.
If I make a difference, if one of these kids goes out there and does something in the world, or helps somebody else out, even if it's tomorrow or 10 years down the road, I think we did our job.
I remember Joe Girardi coming up to me in St. Louis, and he said, hey, Joe Torre's thinking about making a change and making you Randy Johnson's personal catcher. What do you think? And I said, well, whatever Joe wants, I'll do whatever I need to do. So sure enough, Joe decided to make this change. And one of the things that I knew that Randy didn't like, he didn't like catchers firing the ball back to the pitcher. So of course, I catch Randy his side session in St. Louis before his next start. And the first thing I did was fire the ball back as hard as I could. Every pitch that he threw to me, I fired it back as hard as I could back at him. And I could see the reaction, like he was getting ticked off. And that's exactly what I wanted from him, because I felt like the first half of that year, Randy wasn't himself. He was a little passive. So I had to find a way to get him fired up. For some reason, I think we went 11-1 in the second half. And it was just one of those situations that clicked out on the field. But I can tell you it did not click off the field. It did not click in the clubhouse. Randy and I yelled and screamed at each other a lot. We had a lot of ups and downs during that relationship. And I remember I caught him in Seattle. And before the game, I felt like we had come such a long way. I said, Randy, we're going through the scouting report, the game plan. And I said, you're going to have a good game tonight. And I said, you and I should go grab a beer after the game to celebrate. And he said, that would be great. I would love to do that. And I said, all right. I felt like we came a long way. Well, sure enough, fast forward to the game. 7 innings, he gives up 1 run against the Seattle Mariners. But in the middle of that game, he started showing me up, yelling at me out on the field, to the point where I went out to the mound and got in his face. And the late, great Mel Stottlemyre had to run out to the mound and get in between us because we were yelling and screaming at each other about what was going on in this game. And I remember poor Melvis had his head down and he was smiling. And he was like, "Are you guys done?" I'm like, "Yeah, we're done." He walks off the field. Again, we win the game. Randy gives up 1 run in 7 innings. He said, "Are we going out for that beer?" And I said, "We're done. We are done. We're never going out for a beer together." The next morning, I went into Joe Torre's office and I told him, "I can't do this anymore. This guy is destroying me." Like it was emotionally taking a toll on me. And the great Joe Torre said very simply, "How bad do you want to win a World Series ring?" I said, "It's the only reason I'm still playing." He said, "You're catching them in 4 days." I got up and I walked out.
Welcome back to Inside the Yankees. This season, outfielder Spencer Jones has dominated at every level of the minors. We recently sat down with him to discuss the work ethic that has opened so many eyes within the organization.
So obviously you come into spring and like you obviously when you come into spring, you're feeling like you're in a great spot, right? And then what goes into deciding that I'm going to start making major changes to the swing along the way?
I think it's just like I want to be the best version of myself in the sense that like I've always believed like, there's the major leagues and the minor leagues, and the minor leagues are for you to figure out, what kind of player you are and to essentially put yourself in the best spot. So when you do go to the major leagues, like you make a career out of it, and, that's the mentality that I've had through this. Jarrett, our hitting director, Sosa, our hitting coach here, and then, the guys that I work with in the off season about like, okay, like it's feeling good in this spot. You're struggling with these pitches. How can we kind of like orient things? How can we work on things for you to kind of like feel what you need to feel to where you can, be very repeatable and get to the pitches that you need to.
Yeah.
And so like it's just a lot of conversations, a lot of looking at film, a lot of like, yeah, I'll try it this week, see how it goes. And at the end of the week, let's look at the at-bats. Let's look at, how we did or what was going on, and let's talk about it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I've approached this year.
Is it daunting to like make it to kind of dive into that, considering you do spend the whole off season like doing this one thing, and I'm sure that you were feeling like that was the right thing at that moment? Like, is it tough to like for the first time say, yeah, let's start making some changes to this?
Honestly, like I like kind of messing around with it.
Okay.
And making it athletic, because for me, like working on some of the stuff, like making the move different was like tough for me at first. Kind of had to rewire, essentially how my body was getting started and how it was moving. And then, I got to a point where it was like I was doing the move very consistently, but I was getting away from some of the things that I did well naturally. So like, okay, how can we kind of blend the two of them? But it's like, I would just take it as a fun challenge, because
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's like your goal is to be athletic and to, play baseball and have fun with it. And for me, that's kind of is part of it,
Are you kind of tracking yourself as you go? Because I'm sure if you like lined up pictures of your stance every game this year, it would be a fun little time lapse.
Yeah, I'm sure. But I think it's just getting back to the root of me being an athlete and then me getting started the right way. And then now it's like, okay, like it feels where we want it to be. Let's not worry about the swing. Let's go be on time for pitches and hit some stuff hard. So
When you are kind of like, I mean, you said it's to kind of make sure that you're using all the athleticism too. Is that really just the end goal, or do you have like we're going to make these changes because we want this kind of like end point?
right. I think there were some things like some, I guess, more tangible things that we were working on for me to get better at, like with the swing, with stuff they could calculate. And so it was like I understood it, and I could feel exactly what they were talking about. So that's kind of where those two things meet, to where it's like instead of being so, focused on, barrel angles or whatever else, it's like, all right, how can we like create the feel for these things just to play out naturally,
Yeah.
right? And so we've done a good job of putting some things in my training that help with the feel that I'm going for, as well as like, continuing to drill the stuff that I worked on in the off season, and essentially kind of just create an athletic blend of both.
Yeah.
So,
Who suggests the wide open start?
oh, my friends in Nashville
Okay.
helped think of that one, and Jared as well. It was something with like my hips weren't firing the way they were supposed to. So it was like, okay, like what if we just started them open? So when you get into it more, like they'll be at a more neutral spot instead of being too far, essentially. So it's like mostly just to incorporate the lower half. And like, I'm sure you can go back and find video of me when I was younger. Like when I was 10, I was in an open stance because I thought it was cool.
Like that open?
Yeah.
Who were you modeling that after? Do
Um,
you remember back in the day?
I think it was like Adrian Gonzalez.
Okay.
Like he was so cool. Still is so cool. But like I had an open stance when I was younger and then kind of got away from it. And then I'm sure you go back and look at some video in college, I'm back in an open stance and some things with the angle of my feet in the box, like just like stuff I've done for a long time and then got away from it and now we're getting back into that.
Yeah.
So
Because it's weird. It's not like you're hitting from the open stance. It's kind of like a timing thing at first, and then you kind of close off, right? Like you're not super open when you're actually swinging the ball.
right. Yeah. Just mostly about getting the hips where they need to be.
Yeah, it's like a timing kind of thing. When do you know, like, all right, let's stop tinkering for now?
Yeah, I mean, with like the tinkering stuff, it's like I don't really try to tinker too much. Like I like to like talk about stuff on like the off day, or when Jarrett comes to town or whomever. Like if I feel something someday, I'll have a conversation. I'll call somebody and be like, "Hey, this is what I was feeling. Tomorrow morning, let's look at the film and talk about it."
Yeah.
And they're like, "Okay." So we do that. We look at it, and then it's like, "Okay, try like these two feels today, but like keep doing what you're doing." It's like, all right. And so it's nothing like aggressive tinkering. I mean, I'm sure looking at some of the stuff, people are like, that is some aggressive tinkering.
Yeah.
But for me, it's just like let's, put one piece in one place, see how it plays for a day, right? It felt a little weird, felt a little different, timing felt off. Okay, let's, move it here. Let's do this, let's do that. And it's not like I'm like trying to be super conscious of it. It's more so just like let it sit there and then let it play out. You know what I mean? So that's kind of how I'm looking at it and where I'm going with it. So
Okay, aggressive tinkering is a good fantasy football name. Don't you think?
that would be
That's a good name.
I might need to change my team name to that.
Are you like when it does start to click like this specific stance, what is the feeling that that like, oh, that was something? Like, let's keep doing this for a while.
When the ball looks slow.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's kind of deep.
Yeah. I mean, nothing else matters.
Yeah.
It's whether you can see it or not see it. And I think this year it's like, I don't even know how to describe it other than the ball looks slower.
Okay.
So.
Time for one last break, but coming up on Inside the Yankees, we take a look at the latest player to put on the pinstripes, third baseman Ryan McMahon. It's all coming up next. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Inside the Yankees. I'm Chris Sheeran. Earlier this week, the Yankees traded for third baseman Ryan McMahon in an effort to shore up their infield. Let's get to know one of the newest Yankees now by taking a look back at him meeting the media on his first day.
Honestly, it was weird. Been in Colorado for 12 years, but I think once I calmed down, I realized how exciting this was going to be, and just got really excited to get up here.
How much of a whirlwind has it been? It hasn't even been, a full probably 24 hours here, and you're in pinstripes already.
It's calmed down. Off the bat, definitely was a whirlwind, but had a nice little drive up from Baltimore. Had some time to collect myself and get ready.
What do you think it's going to be like playing here at Yankee Stadium, putting pinstripes on for the first time this afternoon?
It's going to be really exciting, right? This is every kid's dream. When you're 9, 10 years old, hitting wiffle balls in the backyard, you're picturing yourself Game 7 of the World Series at Yankee Stadium. So it's going to be pretty cool.
Bill? And Roger?
In your last 7 games you've been hitting of late, what do you need to do to be consistent? It's been an up and down season in the batter's box.
Yeah, that's a good question. Working through some stuff, trying to make sure that I'm putting the ball in play when I need to put it in play. I think for me it's usually just ending the at-bat when it needs to be ended, right? Getting a good pitch to hit and making sure that I hit it.
Also, did you talk to anyone about playing in New York? I know you played with DJ LeMahieu. Have you talked to him or anybody?
I haven't reached out to him yet. Kind of a quick transition, a lot going on. I'm sure I'll reach out to him and some others, in the upcoming days.
On your left, Roger?
Hey. The the Yankees haven't been going particularly good the last month or so, and you're sort of introduced into this environment with big market hype. How do you feel about the circumstances that you're stepping into?
You know what? I don't think I've even thought about it, man. You know, they brought me in to play third base, play baseball. That's something I feel confident in. So I'm going to go out there, try to do the best I can do, and, you know, do whatever the team asks me to do to try to help win games.
You've only played a few games here at Yankee Stadium, but like in terms of a hitter's park, usually left-handers sort of like it. What are your thoughts about batting in this ballpark?
You know what? I think I'm more excited to just be a part of this lineup, right? From the other side, you look over at the Yankee lineup, and you know it's intimidating. There's a lot of really good players, guys who can do a lot of really good things. So, just happy to be a part of that, and you know we'll see what the field brings.
That'll do it for this edition of Inside the Yankees. Join us next week for more coverage of all things Yankees. Take care, everybody.